Good afternoon, everybody. We're pretty much squeezed for time, so we'll try to do a get-a-fix thing, a quick fix. The objective and the motto here is to convey a message and to set a thought process. So I begin this auspicious day, a day that our country is proud, by remembering the words of the Mahatma, that the future depends upon what we do today. And his words are very relevant in today's world. Anvita sir was talking on technology, technology and technology. I have a single slide on technology, just a single slide on technology, which we have seen, or most of us have seen this happening. We have started with the electronic medical records, if I am correct, went on, or probably the electronic medical records and the digitization of the medical equipment probably happened together, and now we are trying to correlate both the things and trying to integrate. Of course, telemedicine has been happening. There are companies in Bangalore and Chennai who are managing tele-ICUs, ICUs running out of Israel, ICUs running in small villages of hospitals. They are managing sitting in Bangalore. There is teleradiology also which is happening. And sir has been doing a lot of research on AI-based diagnosis and disease management. And of course, robotic surgeries, I don't need to tell of what is happening across the country. So this is the scenario. So I wouldn't say the future of healthcare, marketing is digital and social. I would say the future of healthcare is digital and social. With this thought, we will go on to the next. Primarily, this slide, before we go further, would focus or would highlight to you the difference in communication strategies that have existed. We take any communication strategy in the, I would say, then and now, whether it is a newspaper, whether it is a TV, whether it is the radio, all of them have remained one to many. And this social network, this internet connectivity, all of this, the primary differentiating factor is that the communication is one to one. Now, this is a question that all of us, this is a part of the connecting the dots as a part of the program. I request all of you to keep this question in mind. Now, any practice for that matter, Chandrasekhar sir has got a fantastic session which is upcoming on how to create a wow. But how many of your patients really think that you're an amazing doctor, a really fantastic hospital, or a wow, I had a wow experience? Just keep this question in mind and we will look at answers. Now let's have a show of hands. When I say the word social network, what comes to my mind? What is it? Facebook. How many Facebooks? Facebooks. Okay, Facebooks. How many? How many has got Google Plus? Twitter, Snapchat. These are the statistics. These are the domination ratios. But I'm not here to talk about this. I think there are a lot of people who will talk to you about this. You'll find a lot of solutions. Social network is actually older than the internet. For this very event, I had the opportunity, rather the privilege of accessing the social network of Anantapatnaban sir, of Shamsuddin sir, of Kalidas sir, of Chandrasekhar Menon sir. We had the privilege of accessing my friend's social network, the gentleman at the back who introduced us to G.G. Gangadharan sir and put his presence forward. The social network is older than the internet. Now, what has the internet done to the social network? This is what it has done. It has increased the connectivity. There is ease of access. There is no group boundaries. Earlier, your hospital had vendors. The vendors used to be a group. Your hospital had patients, your practice had patients, patients were a group. The hospital there is a connect between a patient and a doctor, there is limited personal autonomy there. Whereas this is what the internet has done to our social network. It has increased the connectivity, it has reduced the group boundaries and given a great lot of personal autonomy to people out there. So going forward, I'll quickly define, I've made an attempt to define a social network or a social network of a practice, a doctor, a hospital or a clinic. Number one, your patients, the bystanders, your friends and family. Number two, the doctors, the nurses, the non-medical people, the paramedics. Number three, 4, 5, we have the vendors, the media and the general public at large. So when we think of doing anything on the social network, on the internet, these are the people whom we have to actually keep in mind when we are planning to do anything on the social network. There are a lot of strategies, there are a lot of recipes, there are a lot of shortcuts, but we have to think as large as this and then define. So now increased, I think 4G, 3G, 2G, Geo has given rampant access, increased. So your patients are going to go on the internet, that's for sure. And it has created something called an e-patient. I would also define it as a patient consumer. They are no more patients, they are patient consumer. When a patient is a patient consumer, it's very important to give them the wow feeling. It is very important to give them a warm welcome at your hospital. So the patient is connected to the doctor, to the specialist, to the media, to the hospital. I don't need to explain this. I think most of you would have this experience, but the patient is so well connected to all of this via the internet. Now these are some interesting statistics that 35%, most of the statistics are from India, from US, because we don't have verified data in India. Again, like G.G. Gangadhar sir was telling, there is an absence of verified data available in India, but these are statistics from US which can be easily correlated to India. 35% of the patients go online in regards to health problem. And I will also connect my dots with what Dr. Hulla was telling in terms of chronic conditions. 60% of them keep going back. You should have a compliance team. You should have a compliance team. Chronic condition, anybody who's managing a chronic condition, you should have a compliance team. You would have seen all of this, people who are in practice, almost all hospitals who are in practice would have experienced this at one level or the other. Patients take their medical records, they tell, we'll revert back to you with a confirmation or a consent. Even before you're about to say a medical condition, they spell it out to you. They ask you questions about it, which you wouldn't have heard before. No, a few years back, 10, 15 years back, you wouldn't have seen this. So these are the primarily differences between a patient of the yesteryears and the e-patient. And yes, this is what it is coming to, and this is what it is at today. Patients have entered a state of self-diagnosis, not because they are looking for information. It is because in today's connected world, information is finding them. There is so much of pumping of information on the social media, on the internet, on this connected world, that information gets to them even before they get to the information. So what's the way forward? The way forward is maximum adoption, and we have seen people who have adopted maximum. We have seen that it has defined their practice. One of our clients recently, who is aggressive, he's also he is not able to make it here today, but he has sent a recorded video message. That is one of the very interesting sessions which happened in 2015. He actually took the entire conference by storm. We were not expecting it. Dr. Lakshmanan Saravanan. So we have seen that the adoption of maximum digitization and maximum social has leapfrogged the practice. So this is the way forward. You can't avoid it. this is the way forward. So then you have to be on the bandwagon. But then this question would come, all this information is already available, why do I need to present it again? When you're presenting information, the biggest advantage is that the patients start correlating it with your practice. They become your goodwill ambassadors because you have given them the information. Quick points which we keep in mind when we develop a web presence, which is the foundation of any digital presence. There should be information on disease, condition, symptoms and diagnosis, treatment options, team profile, and the most important, outcomes. The patient consumer is bothered about the outcome. It should be, of course, easy to understand, benefit driven, and should have call to action parameters. Now quickly we'll go on to search. Search, yes, has defined practice, but I would say search is today primarily a promotional tool. You need to be there, you need to have your visibility, and it is also helps you in branding. We will quickly take you through some of the things that we've had here. So Dr. Radhakrishnan, it's a pleasure to have you. I took the privilege of giving a demo. So that there, so this is the kind of detailing that you need to have, the conditions treated. Most of the speakers like Ananth sir would remember Dr. Prashant Pillai. When you're out there on the social network, it's a double-edged sword. Very recently he posted something, a fantastic case which he has done, globally applauded, and then one patient comes in middle and then says, all great, well said and done, I don't have the same result. There are 100 positive comments and there is one person who comes and says, all great, fantastic job, good job, but I don't have this. I'm not been able to experience this. And the entire momentum is lost. You get into a firefighting mode. But the best part was that in this particular case, the doctor was well prepared. That is again where your process, your checks comes into place. It's always better to have your fail-safes, your processes to stand behind you. In this particular case, he was well backed up with information. He was able to quickly retrieve it and present it on the internet, and the double-edged sword, no, it didn't have the effect. Now we'll come to the end of the presentation with this. With all the bandwidth that is happening, with all the internet connectivity bandwidth that is happening, a minute of a video, a single minute of a video, now this is where I'll take my time, a single minute of a video is worth 1.8 million words. And what is the traffic that we're going to have on the internet in the year 2018? It is not going to be on the website, it's not going to be on social media, it's going to be on the videos. Even on the social media, people are going to be watching the videos. So 75% of the entire traffic is going to be videos. We will have a few samples here, live demos of how videos. I'm grateful that Dr. Nagaraj and Dr. Punyavati has joined us from Punya Hospitals. They recently had a very good experience with the videos where a patient, of course, there is a lot of effort from the doctor's side also to create fantastic videos in a way that it engages the patient, it communicates. So I think there's a great round of applause to them who's put the effort to make those videos. I will quickly take you through those videos, but I will also show to you how it has impacted a patient's decision making. This is another one which is from a client in Bombay, one of the directors of global hospitals there. So they did a radio show, and we peppered that same voiceover of the radio show with slides which were relevant, and as raked in, I would say 68,296 views on kidney transplant. So, urologist, it was a radio show, there was only voice. We took the voice, identified files, and talks about how and why kidneys are transplanted, and who requires a kidney transplant. Could we go on to the next, which we will come to this particular case. Yes, again Dr. Sudhakar Reddy is here. This again is a simple FAQ, very short and sweet, less than 3 minutes, has created its impact. It's #1 video on in regards to dental implants in India. I'm sure that, not sure how much of it is actually measured, but then you would be able to see the impact in terms of the viewership. We'll go on to the next. So the outcomes, these are the outcomes. You have exponential practice growth. We are happy to have served, we are happy to have been here for the last 9 years, and we are happy to have served organizations like Karl Strauss, organizations like ARC, organizations like Melanoside, Ortho1, and 250 other clients spread across the length and breadth of the country. Thank you all for a very patient listening. The future depends upon what we do today. The future starts today. Thank you. Thank you.